Hey there, I'm here with Tara McAllister, the creator of the staRt app. If you're not familiar with this app, it targets the R sound. It's a really neat biofeedback app, and I'm going to ask her some questions today so you can learn a little bit more about it. Tara is currently doing a crowdfunding campaign that we invite you to be a part of to raise funds to further develop this app. First, Tara, what's the vision that led you to the creation of this app? And what's the void that you're trying to fill?
We created staRt because I had been researching biofeedback for a few years with Lane Hitchcock at Montclair State University, and we were really excited about what we were finding. We really could see the potential for biofeedback to help kids who were not responding to traditional forms of treatment. And I was so excited to go to the ASHA convention and present our findings, and we did. And then, first question, how do I get the software that you're using for biofeedback? How much does it cost? And we were using the K-Pentex CSL, and it costs $2,000 if you just get the software, or $5,000 if you get the hardware. And there wasn't any way that anyone was going to pay that for software just for R. And so it was really a wake-up call for me that it didn't matter what our research showed if we couldn't get the tools in the hands of clinicians. Now, I am not somebody who would be able to build the software myself, but I happen to have been in a position to collaborate with engineers and designers to develop a tool that allows us to translate that research into practice and put the tools in the hands of clinicians in the real world.
That's so awesome, and I love how you've made it so accessible to clinicians since it's a free downloadable app. I know there's a desktop version. I've honestly never used the desktop version, just the app, but it's really neat and it's free. Next question is, how big is the staRt team? Tell me a little bit about the people behind the software and what motivates them.
Yeah, I am so lucky in the team that surrounds me. So the reason that staRt came to exist was because at a new faculty lunch at NYU, I was seated next to Tae-Hong Park, who's a music technologist, and we were chatting about our research, and I mentioned my work on technology-enhanced speech training, and I mentioned that I was frustrated with the software that we used. And coincidentally, he happens to use exactly the type of visualization that we had been drawing on for biofeedback with the CSL. And he said, "Oh, you don't like your software? I could code that up in a weekend." And that was not true. That was not true at all. It took years and years, but that was sort of the genesis of it. He did have the ability, and so we've worked with different students and different professional programmers over the years to bring it to reality. And I want to shout out to Helen Carey, who is our designer and UX developer. Everything you see in the staRt app that is cute and user-friendly, that comes from Helen. All the graphics that I use on the Instagram, that's all Helen, so don't give me any credit for that. But I've been really lucky to work with people who are motivated to take their technical skills and translate them into the real world. Because I think there are a lot of engineers out there who are looking for something, for a sort of mission-driven project, instead of, a new app to deliver pizzas to frat boys or whatever. And so I've been fortunate to find people who have a passion to make this software work, even though we're very much operating on a shoestring with what we get from research grants. And it's the passion of the people on the team that's made it possible.
How cool that you made that connection and were able to partner with someone to bring this idea into reality. That's so neat. Even though it took longer than you expected to get it done, I love that story and how it came to be. Can you talk a little bit about staRt as a research tool versus staRt as a tool for practice in the real world?
Yeah, I, for a long time, wasn't aware of the division between staRt as a tool for research and staRt as a tool for the real world, because I live in research world, right? It's what I do. I run our research studies, and we set up staRt to fill the needs that we had for our research studies. And it's only been in the past year or so, I've participated in a couple of different sort of boot camps that aim to get researchers out of the lab and into the real world. And I've learned so much from the SLPs that I've talked to about what are their needs and does staRt fill them. And for example, a lot of people tell me, well, I need START to work for groups because I'm in the schools and I see my our kids mostly in a group setting, not one-on-one. And that hadn't occurred to me. So we have been making a really conscious effort to not just say this tool works for our research and other people can use it and that's good enough. We really want to rework START to fill the needs in the real world and meet the users where they are.
As a longtime school-based SLP, I appreciate you bringing school SLPs into the discussion and thinking about ways that START can be used not just for research, but also in individual and group sessions. That's really neat. Last question, what are your long-term goals for START, and how does this crowdfunding campaign get you closer to reaching that vision?
My long-term vision for START is for it to continue to exist and grow and be broadly accessible to the real world users, the SLPs in the real world. And it keeps me up at night sometimes because I'll tell people I have a daughter. I just have the one kid, and I'll tell people I'm stopping at one child because I also had a piece of software, and that, the kid, the dog, the app, it's all I can handle. Because in a lot of ways, having a piece of software is like having a child. You have to support it, feed it, maintain it. And it's not just, do we want to add a new feature? It's also maybe Apple releases a new iOS that somehow breaks the way the app works, and we have to scramble to fix that. And it's not really sustainable if our funding is all coming from research grants for us to be responsive to those changes and real world needs. And so this crowdfunding campaign is kicking off our path towards a sustainable future. And the model that we're currently pursuing is that we want to make START so easy to understand that it's not only a tool for SLPs, it's also for parents who want to do home practice on R with their kids. It's also for language learners overseas if they want to work on their R sound. And then by making it more broadly accessible, we hope that we could potentially have some funding source where SLPs can keep using the software for free, but then parents may be paying for it, individual language learners in other countries may be paying for it, and that can provide that sustainable revenue stream that will allow us to keep maintaining and improving the software for the real world end users and not just for our research goals.
Thank you for answering all these questions today. I'm so excited for your campaign, for your app, for the future of START. I think it's going to be wonderful, and I'm wishing you all the best.